Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have Dr. Baskar sir. Okay, so he is currently working as director of Niyamatech, and almost a decade of experience he has. He has worked with various companies. His previous assignment was with DXC Technologies, Microsoft, Oracle, Tech Mahindra, and Tata Consultancy. He has worked with top Fortune companies, like executed projects for them, almost for 500 firms. He has done his masters from IIT Chennai, and he actually was working as director, AVP, and consultant for what is called as Mahindra, Microsoft, Oracle. These are the companies which he has worked on. So I welcome you, sir, today, and I hope I can take care.
Sure, thank you. Okay, good afternoon. It's going to be a very difficult time for me to keep you guys engaged between the lunch and it's 11 o'clock. So I will try to do some justice, maximum I can. Okay? So you have done hands-on so far, right? So maybe I will try to keep you guys engaged with some videos and others rather than getting into the hands-on, so that you will also try to have some knowledge. So basically I'm just going to discuss on a new terminology that is really hitting the market. How many of you guys are aware of new paradigm? It's called spatial computing. Okay, so we all know we started with personal computing, right? Then we went into mobile computing. Now the paradigm is going to be spatial. What is this? It is nothing but you don't have any restrictions with respect to console. In personal you used to have desktop, laptops, everything will run there. Then came mobile, and everything will run within that particular, whatever the dimensions that you have. Instead, can you try to view something which can try to emboss or embed on the space that you have, rather than you have a separate screen. Like for example, let me tell you, I am a doctor. I have a patient. The patient analyzed, diagnosed, surgery has to be done. Then patient is taken to the surgery. Finished, coming back. Now the doctor is talking to the patient. That means that patient is lying on the bed. I will not have access to console or whatever. What if I have a widget, I wear the widget, and then through the widget, just seeing the patient and seeing the data, which is again a normal wall, please remember. You understand what I am saying? I am able to see the data, even mapping on before surgery and after surgery of that patient, and then explain how the things are. That is spatial computing. That is the world we are getting into. Okay? Only one restriction is hardware. You have to have the device. It could be see-through or scan-through type of device, which you can have. Based on that particular thing, you can try to. So, right now, everybody is focusing on building applications around the spatial computing. I'm sure that you would have heard that metaverse is the terminology which Meta came up with. And then they tried to infuse lot of money. Unfortunately, it was not taking any shape. COVID came, fell down. Now, if you see, how many of you have heard of Vision Pro? Good. So, Vision Pro and NVIDIA, Omniverse, they were the pioneer in the spatial computing and promoting this heavily. So the spatial computing is a new paradigm that you should be aware of. So your applications, whatever you are going to build, should run on the spatial aspects. That is all we are going to talk about. So, I will talk something on the applications that are predominantly falling under this, and then what are all the challenges that they pose with respect to security and what activities that are happening around that. Finally, suggesting what are all the pointers as best practices that you should keep in your mind when you are building these applications. Is that okay? Fair deal? So far so good? Or I am boring? Good. So, it used to be information to share to experience. That is the difference. So that means you have the hardware, you have the software, you have the information. It is going to be getting that application to experience. So this hardware and software together, leveraging this information which is nothing but the data, going to give rise to the user to experience. It is not sharing like you see it in the typical dashboard. That is the change that is happening right now in the industry. Okay? So, in order to do this, let me try to take some of the examples. How many of you are aware of the Starliner program from Boeing? It was in the news. You are aware of it? Good. So, it was in the news because Williams and another astronaut, they were held up. They are not able to return to India. That Starliner program from Boeing, when they built that capsule, they used spatial computing framework to build the components. You are aware of the fasteners, right? There are around tens and tens, thousands of fasteners that they have to use for the capsule. So they don't know where to look at, what to do, where it is. It has to be a nut or it has to be a washer and the nut. All those things they have done it virtually. Using that, they were able to really fix those capsules closer to around 60% of the reduction in building. So that means they have created that model by building right from the small components. And then that was used to display to the people when they assemble. So they were able to really look at that. Includes the spatial coordinates. Remember, when you have a machine wherein they have to do the tightening the bolts and nuts, they should know the position where it is. To that level, they have created first before they physically build an assembly. So that is the one which you can try to, because Starliner program everybody understands, and so this is really important that you should be aware of is the major use case. Then I just want to divert. You guys are aware of autism, right? So there are a lot of NGOs working on making sure that autism students get placed. But the problem is, the moment they go and face that interview or interviewer, they get silent. They are not able to converse. So they use this virtual reality to make sure that they are able to converse, get practiced, saying that this is how the interview is going to be. And you try to act, because there is no conclusion whether you are going to get the job or not, but you are going to get practice. And this particular NGO, they were able to really place with the 70% more success rate for the autism students. So this is nothing but learning, teaching. So everything, if you see that here coming around the educational thing. There is one company, if I remember right, STEM-R, which works on building STEM courses on VR, so that the students are able to understand the subjects easily. So predominantly the education sector, learning sector is the prime users. Now let me try to deviate a bit. How many of you are aware of the company now? They are in Bangalore also. They really sell furnitures and also the needs for any house or buildings. So they have come up with Style Studio, or some studio is the tool or an app wherein you can try to take your kitchen model, upload it, and then go there and take each and every assets like refrigerator and you place them and then try to see how it looks. And based on that you create the BOM, that is bill of materials. Give that order, then you get it home. So it is the studio that they have built which is available for people. This is B2C, wherein you can try to understand and effectively use that application. Walmart, Lockheed Martin, all these companies, they use VR for training. The problem is, trainer comes asking everybody to assemble in one place and trying to say these are all the scenarios, this is how you have to react. Maybe using a slide, writing something on the board. But if you try to bring in a 3D realistic visual and try to see how he or she should act in that particular scenario, they found that the learning closer to the experiential learning, and it was really improving the productivity of their employees by more than 50%. These are all the data. I am not saying everything is from internet. Don't assume that I have created nothing. I am just taking it and then sharing it, what I have gathered as my own knowledge, sharing it with you. I hope it will be useful for you. So these are all the things will help you to provoke your thoughts and then see what areas, what kind of applications that you can build by the knowledge that you have acquired, whether you use Unity or Unreal or maybe everybody is now fully conversant with Unity? Fully? No, that's okay. See, the thing is, technology is constantly changing. Okay, tomorrow Unity, another version comes, some of the features wherein you write the script, later it will be part of the drag and drop. Then you have to again change. Okay. How many of you are good in HTML? Everybody mostly will be good in HTML, right? So maybe then I will see this. I will tell you how this got created. But then, do you feel like, for example, I don't know whether it will work or not, something. See this, I have this TV here, and then I try to in some of the components. See here, there is a switch. I can try to do this switch. And there is a door. It took some time. So I'm just trying to see some of the actions that you can, and it looks like a kind of a model asset that has been built in. Believe it or not, this has been done only with the HTML knowledge to a certain extent of JavaScript. Not used Unity. Some of the assets which have been borrowed, which are already available. So what I am saying is, when there is a will, there is a way. Like for example, I don't know whether this cat will make a noise or not. Let me try. So what I am trying to say is, these are all the things that have been done using HTML and JavaScript. If you want to play with, please use a-frame. Please check. HTML and JavaScript. A-frame. Let's see whether you are able to get it or not. Is there? Sorry? Is there? So this is where I started using when Google Cardboard came in. You guys are aware of Cardboard, right? So this was, I think, 2014 or something. So wherein we used to build and take the HTC mobile, put it inside the Cardboard and then view. And we used to love and build something at the HTML JavaScript level. That in Unity and all, it was expecting some high amount of resources. This also, the more and more assets you buy or take it will take more time. This because I am also running Unity parallelly, I am running Vision OS simulator also. So that is the reason why it is, although I have 16 GB. So my sincere suggestion is, you can even try this A-frame and then try to see how you can, because you might be seeing that I have to go Unity, I have to go high end or whatever, but my suggestion is there are other aspects with which you can also try. So don't just ignore. My sincere suggestion is play with it. Spatial computing, there is a huge amount of opportunities that are coming. Okay? So this is what I was saying. This is what you also have the reference, right? So my sincere suggestion is, you just look out this and then try to see whether you can play with this. This is pretty good, nice, and you are all aware of GitHub, right? Everybody should be aware of GitHub, and there should be a lot of projects available in GitHub also. I just picked up from GitHub and then tried to throw as well. So, as I said, nothing I created. So then, what are the other experiences that users are trying to build? Doctors, mainly, as I said, when the patient comes before and after surgery. And also sometimes during the surgery itself, whether they can. So those are all the areas that you can. But only one problem is, your 3D models that are so-called asserts that you should have. And then, I'm sure you guys are aware of USD. Aware, right? So you should be having this. Then you can try to play. This is not US dollars. This is talking about universal scene description. this you should be having enough depending on your scenario, environment, then you are able to build much easily by adding actions to that based on the certain aspects that you want to cover. So that is very, very important. So
This will act like a data set. Like how we tell in other terms when we programming, we need data sets much better ones or something like that here.
yeah, actually this is a scene. Overall scene which is going to be really having to the minute detail. For example, if it is going to be a shop floor, then it will have the pipeline, pressure lines, water lines, everything will be there. I can, including solenoids, PLCs and all, so that I can get all those minute levels. So when I try to move and I want to perform some actions, I can. For example, if I am going to go through a particular motor switch, I am able to really bring in some augmented reality on top of it. The moment I press it, then the motor should on. Then I can add my triggering events, saying that I set a threshold in the data as you said, and that data threshold when it is about to breach, the cooling should come, automatically the trigger comes and then it switches on. Right? So, in this case, if you are going to use a map, it's a different animal altogether. There you should be having something like, for example, quantum information systems that you want to build. GIS, using. You guys are aware of PostGIS? This is part of the Postgres. So, when you want to build something, leveraging the maps for urban city planning, then you should be aware of this. So for example, maybe some of the students, I was talking to them in the morning, this is actually a kind of a case study used by air traffic controllers. In a major congested airport, there will be a lot of flights landing and then taking off. So the air traffic controller should be knowing how to handle this. They should be in a position to simulate the conditions and then decide how to act. So the simulator that was built in, but they need the data. So they have used this, which is using this QGIS, PostGIS. Based on that, they were able to simulate and then see to that how you can handle the traffic. But here there is one challenge. To what extent the data will be taken? It is once per minute, or once per second, or once per few seconds or milliseconds. Depending on that, there will be some redundancy because it would have come in a particular height only. So if I have around 20 nodes and it is not moving, then I can knock off and keep only one. Otherwise, unnecessarily I am going to have a lot of data for pre-processing. Can I try to remove those redundancies? That is where a new guy who has come in is called Mobility DB. Since you are asking about data sets, I am just saying Mobility DB. This fellow is an interesting animal that you should try to explore. If you are trying to do something on mapping related stuffs, using something on urban city planning or on the sky you want to do something, or you are trying to do something on the air traffic aspects, then you should be aware of this and try to understand Mobility DB along with PostGIS, how you can use. These are all interesting scenarios right now happening, but predominantly on learning, not on production yet. You understand what I am saying? But there is a good potential because everybody is trying to see how you can get into this stage. That is a market that everybody is looking at. That too after NVIDIA's Omniverse. There is a huge and Vision Pro. Great. So this is a small app that has been built on Vision Pro, for Vision Pro. Being a Mac user, I have the liberty to have the Vision OS simulator. So if it is able to work here, then it will work on your Vision Pro headsets also. So here, the main thing is this kind of nitty-gritty that is being done on these videos, pictures, to the greatest detail available, and you can try to bring in those houses and other aspects also into life if you are able to bring in the actions. So that is why I don't know if I remember right, in iPhone 15 they are trying to bring in a concept called spatial video, highest resolution possible. And 16 onwards it is going to be so that they are changing something at the camera's level to bring in, so that if you want to create an asset, 3D assets, you can use your mobile and build that asset. Then you try to play with your actions and triggers. It will be much easier. Otherwise, you have to go on, then even avatars, you have to go to Codex and then get that avatars by paying some money. Can that be leveraged using a mobile? That is again a thought process. It used to be there are a lot of 3D scans. I don't know whether you are aware, sorry to digress a bit. When we were working on 3D printing, we were looking for a file, which is again a kind of a CAD file, which will be given as an input to the 3D printer to just print. But then we just want to try it out. So there are a lot of scanning softwares available. So including Android, iOS, mobiles. So we tried around 3 or 4 different statues and objects by scanning it using the mobile, and then it builds the CAD file which we send it to. We could get around 80% accuracy, but not beyond that. But they say this is going to change them. So they are going to get to the maximum nitty-gritty possible. So I will try to see whether I can show something else here, if possible. This is Unity and this integration, just a kind of a hover wall. Sorry, you are not able to see that thing. And let me try anything else I have here. This is a kind of, because of the light you are able to see or not, I don't know. So this is a pen I have. So with the pen I try to do this. Pencil, colors. So this has been created as a kind of a color palette to play with and create some of the artifacts which can be brought into life in the Vision Pro. These are all running as is in the simulator, Vision OS simulator. What you are seeing right now is the Vision OS simulator. This background I have set as a kitchen because I thought of bringing in Love's thing to see that whether the style studio, but unfortunately I am not able to. So I kept the background as is. Okay? So let me see whether anything else. This one you can see that if I change, you can see that there is a change that is happening to this diameter and elliptic, it is becoming. Able to see that difference? So what I am trying to say is, using this simulator, if you have a Mac, it is going to be much easier, and this applications, whatever you build, can directly run. Okay, now saw some applications, and then what are all the tools and frameworks that are available. Now comes the crux, which is also supposed to be relevant to the topic that I am supposed to discuss. We have to look at the security. Recently in Tata Power, the grid was almost kind of down. The reason being, hackers got in through some malwares. How they got in? I have to take a step back. IT, information technology. OT, operations technology. These two are isolated because I worked in a manufacturing industry. So whenever we work on shop floor, if the corporate guy saying that I want that report, then we will take our system or the printout, go there and give it. We will not allow them to come directly and then talk. That particular situation is blurring now. IT, OT, they have to work together. Then they said that, okay, why you have to get the data and then do something? I will give you a USB stick, put it in, give it to me, we will use it. Hackers saw this. They started implementing malwares into the USB sticks. Because of that, hackers were able to get into OT side. The OT side was not having any problem so far. The moment this IT started blurring that IT-OT integration, OT started getting major cyber risks. Ukrainian, 2017, major risk. Almost all utilities and everything come to a standstill. They blame on Russians or whatever. That's a different issue. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is, they were able to hack. Then next comes Saudi Arabia. This is the worst. Their safety equipment aspects they got covered. It is not only normal equipment, the safety equipments, that particular aspect they got hit. And they have to really shut down and then try to work on it. It is in Saudi that happened, and that is when people started realizing doing the harness, right, hardening that machine. That means no other peripherals will be allowed to attach to that particular laptop or terminals used inside that factory. But then there has to be some other way. Now we are talking about automation, remote adjustments, remote handling. We are going in a different world altogether. That is when digital twin started coming in. That digital twin is nothing but the replica of the existing physical landscape. And then these two will be in a position to talk based on the data that goes from physical to the digital. That is when people started thinking and then seeing how it can be worked. NVIDIA came up with Omniverse. Remember, it will work for greenfield. To my little knowledge, to my little understanding of this area, it will hardly work on brownfield. If you are starting from the clean slate, you create virtual first. Fix everything. Collaboration, again you can bring in everybody in the headset remotely also. Getting into that. Everything is okay, fix. Then you give it to the construction guys to construct. Because it is greenfield. That time you can bring in all your controls and everything which can be synced so that your physical and digital are going to be the exact replica. The data can be transmitted. I have the high power GPU, courtesy NVIDIA. I am in a position to monitor and manage. But here, they prefer robots rather than human beings because they try to ensure the pathway, movement, actions, everything got to be monotonous. You cannot just think, okay, why I have to go only left? Why can't I go right and then come? Human thinking, if it is a robot. So it is nothing but supervised learning per se, for the lack of terminology. Everything is incorporated, including how many centimeters moving on straight and then left or right. Everything is programmed based on the practicals that you do in the virtual scenario and then establish it. Then it is going to be much easier. Like for example, I was really amazed. I don't know how many of you are aware of the Meenakshi Medical College in Madurai. And they have a robot dog. I think Boston Dynamics, if I remember right. working and it is taking care of the customer center. Customers having any queries, they can just use it. But remember, you have to have the empathy. It should not be arrogant. The way it talks, the way it conveys, there has to be an empathy because there are patients coming in or people coming to see the patients. So you should have that empathy taken care. So the bots from Boston Dynamics, I was told is doing a good job. I have not really gone and seen, but I have just seen them. Let us take Accenture. I have not again seen it, but this is what I heard. They do it for high profile guys. Right from CEO, CFO, high profile guys, when at the regional heads joins, high profile they cannot fly. They use virtual way in which they get into the conference room, maybe a kind of a hologram, meet, shake hands, discuss, and even sometimes fix the targets. So what I am trying to say is it is not only training, not only on support, even with respect to the collaborative team discussions and meetings, this virtual reality is being used apart from your spatial twin based factories. BMW is a great example. They are able to churn million vehicles. I mean, see, the thing is, I don't know, I might have the picture. Can you see anywhere a human being? This is actual picture courtesy BMW. Okay? So maybe I will see whether these are all the other use cases which you can, just from the Omniverse alone. Factory of the future, we discussed TwinApp, Wi-Fi simulation. This Ericsson, this is interesting. They started using this to simulate the signal strength, 5G signal strength. So whether the tower's placement is proper or they have to increase how the positioning should be done, that includes during the urban city planning. This is what Ericsson has done and they have used it. You can see, I don't know, because of the light you are not in a position. You can see some of the lights right here raised. So if it is red, that shows it is strong. If it is blue, kind of weak. Orange, so kind of. So based on that they will decide the strength as well as the tower position. And they will be in a position to monitor again through remote using this. And this is Isaac Sim. This is again a kind of a simulation with respect to the bots. And Drive Sim, this is mainly used with respect to the automatic driving and other aspects. Modulus, this is, if you are really interested in physics and other aspects, this will be good. You know how the fluid dynamics should work. And all those aspects taken care by the modulus. Of course, these agents are also possible using Omni. So, I will see whether I can. My internet is not working. This is supernatural. Sorry about that. Supernatural, this is pretty interesting. I was really surprised. This is a game wherein you can sweat it out. Okay? But then, this game, I thought it was a game, good game, everything is okay. But then when I try to look at this data points about what are all the ways and means people spend their calories. It is normally supposed to be gym or equipments, right? Even these games are now appearing in the data points. So it is not only like, you do treadmill, that is good. No, even this particular thing, which is going to be really supernatural, you are able to burn more calories. So that application per se, the name, appearing as part of the calorie spending aspects, that is how the world is going right now. So the bottom line is, there are good chances with respect to the spatial applications you are able to build, even with respect to the games, but you can think of from the health perspective. That can make a huge difference. This you should be aware, how NVIDIA is able to really accomplish this omniverse. That is because of this GPUs and the cloud XR server plus 5G through which it reaches. Costly affair, but I was told going forward you are likely to, because the moment 5G and 6G comes, there will be huge amount of transport that can happen easily. Currently you have a kind of a latency which is really causing a concern. But the moment 6G comes into picture, it is going to be pretty good. But with this itself, they are able to run in most of the places. Like Lowe's, their customers are NVIDIA. BMW, Mercedes-Benz, all using it. Most of the manufacturing guys, after seeing the BMW success, they are trying to think of going into the NVIDIA way omniverse. But better to be a green rather than brown. Okay, so I don't know why these videos are not playing because of this internet problem. So you have to bear with me. So now I will come to the crux. What's the time? Okay. So this is Vision Pro. Right? In the month of June, they announced a bounty program. You guys are aware of bounty program? Right? So that if somebody who can try to come up with some big flaws, they will be rewarded. And somebody found out a good thing wherein when a person using this, when the bounty guy put in his small app, started getting this insects all over. Just imagine when somebody is wearing this and then watching something, suddenly these spiders coming all over. And it can create a lot of mental problems. And this is what the bounty guy found out and got a good amount also. That is not disclosed. You know what was the problem? The problem is, there is one thing called AR look, or there is one, I don't remember, there is one look component. It is a file based component. It is supposed to display the rendering. Okay? So this fellow, which used to be leveraged in AR, they left because they have taken couple of small library components. Instead of taking only the components, they have added the total component. And when they tested, they forgot to test that external, pertinent to the Vision Pro, the external components. And this fellow found out there is a small flaw in that particular quick look, which is part of that. And he created a small, this insect based, which can leverage only the component, and that will be called the to the browser, click on any address, this comes. The funniest part is, if you close, it will not go because it is running as part of the AR, not as part of Vision Pro. So they have to manually go and then hit each and every spider to get rid of. So what I am trying to say, when there is going to be lot of components that will be part of, be it software or hardware components, you have to think of the security aspects also. That comes to my next topic. What are all the ways and means that you can bring in the securities? First and foremost, PIN. Right? You can type in password, then you get it. But the problem is you are wearing, and maybe you can have something, or you can gaze, or you can use your hand, type it, which is cumbersome. So then people thought that, okay, maybe I will try to have something like a QR code or whatever. For that anyway you have to remove your glasses and then go and then do something, come back. Again a problem. So that is when people were thinking of how about using something like haptics or behavior. You know, haptics like touch and all. But then again you have to look at the hardware. In addition to existing, you have to bring in that hardware. So then people started looking at behavior is the best, because you cannot ask somebody to log in by doing some gimmicks. It should be part and parcel of the navigation with their equipments, correct? That only will be really exciting the user to follow users' equipments. So that is where Vision Pro comes in with iris scan, which is called optic ID. So that optic ID with which you can try to register, you can have one eye, two eyes, both eyes, preferably both eyes, not one eye. You register, so next time when I go, if that iris which is having like fingerprint, that is unique, so they are able to distinguish, allow the person to go. So that optic ID, of course HoloLens they use it, I do understand they use iris, but then optic ID I was told much superior. And whatever said and done, Apple, yes, it used to be pricey, now a lot of middle class, upper middle class they afford to and all. Similarly with this Vision Pro which is costing around $3,500 right now if I remember right, it's likely to come down. Because 20 million iPhone, they are able to sell 20K or 30K Vision Pro. They have to jack up the volume. Then only the prices can come down. And another thing is, these people are also supposed to have enough apps to attract more consumers. Like I was stunned, I don't know, maybe you are all aware of it. 1 in 3 in the whole world population are somehow acquainted with the games. I was really stunned. So that means out of maybe 8.5 billion, closer to around 2.5 to 3 billion are attached to the games. This is really bad in my opinion, maybe this is my point of view. But unless and until you want to hit with these devices, if you have games, you have to mass market. So what they are trying to do, whatever that are running already in iPhone and other aspects, can we convert or migrate into this at a faster scale so that I am able to attract more audience. So there are good options with respect to the migrations. Don't think that I am good in mobile. Now you can think of how can I convert or migrate those games leveraging some of the assets which can be used in this VR headsets. Apple is looking at them right now.